Welcome to day 3 of Linux Basics for Hackers V2. This is OTW and this is Hackers Arise. In day 3, we're going to look at initially some services in Linux, Unix, and we'll look at anonymity. We've got quite a few things we want to do. Anonymity, wireless networks, and proxy chains. So we've got quite a bit to cover here. Let's get started. All right. Let's go ahead and exit from here, open up our Kali, and here we are. Okay. So in this section, we're going to be looking at services. We've previously looked at some of the logging in the Kali. We're on chapter 12, by the way, using and abusing services. And in the book, I use the command service, all right? And that still works, but there's a new command called system control. It's probably a good idea to get used to it. I've used it previously in the videos. We should use sudo before it. Service was a way to be able to start and stop services in Linux. System control now does the same thing. The syntax is very similar. And the reason that you should become familiar with it is that service is going to be deprecated. So it means that it's not going to be available in the near future. But let me just show you that both will work. Let's go sudo service start, and let's say I should actually be the service name. So start Apache 2, the web server, and start it. Start. Okay, it'll do nothing. It looks like it does nothing. But when we go ahead and do ps-aux, we should see Apache right here. You see it right in here? Okay. And then we can go ahead and stop Apache. All right. And that stops Apache. Now, the more modern syntax is going to be system control. So it'd be sudo, okay, system ctl Apache 2 start. They changed the order in the using system control. Should be start. Here we go. Start Apache 2 and starts Apache 2. All right. Now let's go ahead and check to see if it's up and running. Go AUX, and we should see it running there. So either one of them works now. All right. Soon we'll see that service will be deprecated, so it won't be available to us. So it's a good idea to get familiar. The only real difference between it is whether or not the verb comes first or second. So for instance, over here in system control, the verb start comes first. Under service, okay, the verb comes last. All right. And then also we can use the verb restart. All right, so this shut it down, restart it. Okay, so if we make a change to say the configuration file, we want to go ahead and restart it so it uses the new configuration file, the new changes to the configuration file. You should have Apache 2 installed by default, all right, on your Kali. If it's not, you can simply go sudo apt. In the book, I use apt-get. Once again, apt-get is being deprecated, apt-get. So this is what some of the things we'll put into the second edition of the book. Either one of them work. Okay, apt is newer, and then install Apache 2. If you're not using Kali, say you're using something like Ubuntu, what have you, and go ahead. Okay, and it tells me that it didn't go out. I think the system is not natted right now. It's for multiple reasons. Yesterday's class, we were using it on an internal machine, and so it's not natted. So if I wanted to get it out, I would have to NAT it. All right. So now to check to see whether or not the Apache 2 is actually open and available to us, let's go ahead and go to web browser. And let's go to 127.127.0.0.1, or, okay, there we go. Look at that. Yours should be different. In the book, I show you the default web page for Apache 2. This is one that I changed for a example in another class. Okay, but you should get the Apache 2 Debian default page. And what we're going to do here now is that we're going to actually go ahead and make some changes and make our own web page. So let's go ahead and let's open up a text editor. And in this case, Mousepad is the default GUI text editor in Kali. This is Kali 2023. So what we need to do is go ahead and open up the index HTML file under the Apache server. So let's go here and go, it'll be at W, should be at var, okay, var www HTML and index HTML. All right, and here's the web page that I created there. It was in this case we were using it to demonstrate how you could do a request, a cross script request forgery. All right, let's go ahead and start a new one. And let's just go ahead and delete all this material. And let's go create a new web page. Okay, this is going to be real simple, just to demonstrate how it works. Start off with the tag HTML, all right? And then the next tag is going to be body, all right? And then we're just going to go ahead and do H1, whoops, H1, and hackers arise is the best place to become a cyber warrior. Everybody knows that, right? So and then we'll go ahead and put an exclamation point in, close the tag, H1, close. All right. So real simple. Obviously, if you want to put a commercial website up, you do a lot more work. But the important point here is that we know that we can go ahead and create a simple website and then put it at index HTML, and then that becomes the website that's hosted by Apache 2. Okay, and we're going to close that with close the script. That's all we're going to do. I do a little more in the book, but you can do more if you want. But let's close the body. And so every tag you open, you have to close. All right, so this one here has to be closed with the slash like that. Notice it turns red. So we get a little help by the mouse pad. And then we got to close the HTML tag up here. And looks good. Let's go ahead and save it. Okay, we'll save it as the index HTML. Looks like we have another one over here too we could take a look at. Okay, but in any case, let's save it. Let's replace it. All right, and then let's go over to our browser. Oh, here it is. All right, and then refresh it. And you can see that we've got a new web page up being served by Apache 2. So the important point here is, one, that you know how to start and stop and restart the service. Okay, use system control or service. You should probably move towards system control, as that's the newer command, and service is going to be deprecated. All right, very simple web page, but now at least you know how to start and stop it, and how to build a simple and host a simple website. And you could put a much more elaborate website in there and host it exactly the same place. All right. Beyond the scope of this class, that would be more of a web design HTML class. That's for our next service. Let's go ahead and take a look at. Let's go and open up another terminal. Okay, we're going to open up another service, and this is going to be the MySQL MariaDB. Now, a couple words here, because a number of people have sent me emails regarding MySQL. MySQL was first developed in the 1990s. I don't have the year right here on top of my head, but it became really the very first open source database. It then got purchased by Oracle. So there was some concern by the developers and other people who used it that MySQL would somehow be commercialized by Oracle, and to a certain extent it has. Okay, because Oracle obviously has other databases. There was concern that would no longer be free, would no longer be open source, and after the do not compete clause in the contract of the developers of MySQL expired, they went ahead and I think it was 5 years. They went ahead and create MariaDB. They're both open source. They're almost clones of each other. There are small differences between them. It's also worth noting that MySQL is behind a huge number of websites. Almost all of the CMSs that are out there, whether it be Ruby on Rails or Joomla or WordPress, are using MySQL or MariaDB as their backend database. Okay. As a matter of fact, if you've heard the term LAMP stack, let me put that up on the screen. Okay, open up a notepad here to show you. You may have heard the term LAMP stack. All right, LAMP should be all caps though. LAMP. All right. This stands for Linux, Apache, MySQL, and PHP, Perl, possibly. Both of them are often included as a P here. This is a stack of applications that are used for creating websites and web servers, right? So that's what the LAMP stack is. So we've got Linux, our Kali, Apache, what we started. We have MySQL, and we don't have, well, we do have it on our system. We're not using it right now, PHP and Perl. So if you're talking about any of the big CMSs, okay, CMSs are content management systems. WordPress, okay, uses the uses MySQL. Joomla does. Let's see, what else? Um, Oh, Ruby on Rails. Okay, that's the other one I was trying to figure out. All right, Ruby and a number of others. So these big CMSs comprise about almost half of all the websites in the world. So you see that we've got MySQL on about half of the websites. In addition, okay, MySQL has been used as a database for a number of the big websites, including Facebook, LinkedIn, Twitter, Kayak, Walmart, Wikipedia, YouTube, Amazon. Okay, all of these have used MySQL as a backend database. Now, in most cases, they've taken MySQL and they've made some enhancements. It's open source, so you can go ahead and add your own features, your own commands, what have you, to make it suit your needs. But they all started off with MySQL as the backend database. MySQL is installed on a number of Linux distributions by default, including our Kali Linux. All right. So if it's not, of course, we know how to do that, right? We can simply go sudo apt MySQL. All right. Get the sudo apt install. MySQL. That'll do it. All right, and it's in almost all the repositories. It's in Kali's repository. It's in Ubuntu's. It's in Fedora's. It's in almost all of the Linux, if not all of them. All right. So let's go ahead and start our MySQL. So we can go sudo, okay, system control, and then start MySQL. All right. Asks me for my password. All right. And then let's go PSAUX to see whether it's actually been started. And let's see if we can find it here. I am not seeing it. So let's go, just use a PSAUX grep MySQL. And you see there it is. Okay. So even though I couldn't see, that's why the grep command is so useful. It may not be immediately apparent just scanning on this. There's a lot of lines here. But using the grep command, I can extract the lines that have MySQL in them. All right, good. So we got MySQL running. That's the good part. Now, what we want to do is to log in to MySQL. So let's go MySQL and then -u, and then for the root user, and then -p means prompt us for a password. So ask us for a password. We don't have one. By default, there isn't one. There isn't a password on root when it's initially installed. And access denied. Let's go. All right. Let's try sudo. And then go Kali. There we go. Okay, so sudo was the only thing that we were missing. Now notice that when I run MySQL, it comes back and tells me that Maria is running. This has been confusing for a lot of folks. Okay, so basically we have a link, okay, between the command MySQL and MariaDB. Maria is actually running, but we can access it the same way we would access MySQL. They're basically clones of each other, and they have links between the names of the different databases. If we could, let me open up another terminal, and I'll show you what happens if we go, let's go system, let's go sudo, system control, all right, start MariaDB. And it's trying and trying. Let's give it a moment. And it's still trying. And it's still trying. Okay. So it's not finding Maria. Let's see if we can, let's try stopping Maria. So what this is telling us is that we really, even though the underlying database is MariaDB, we should still use the term MySQL. This has become confusing to a lot of folks when they went ahead and ran this. So you can see that prompts as MariaDB over here. It tells us, that we're connected to MariaDB. All right. Now, some of the key commands in working in any database, okay, the database language is SQL, okay? That's nearly every database uses this language. It has some variations between different databases, but 80–90% of it's the same no matter what database you're using. So the key words are going to be select, union, insert, just when you're inserting data, as you might expect, update data. If you're pulling data from a table, it'd be from. You have a where, if you want to go ahead and set conditions of the data you want to see, and delete. These are all keywords in SQL. The typical query, a query, so I'm trying to pull information from a database, is going to look like this. Select, and I could put in a star for all columns, all right, from the table name, say table name is users table, where name is equal to Smith. All right. That will go ahead and give me all of the columns from the user table and show me just the records where Smith is the last name. All right. So that's real simple, basic SQL. It's actually a pretty simple language to learn. So if you wanted to learn a database language, one language to start off with, SQL is an easy one. The key with SQL is not syntax. It's really very syntactically simple. It's logical, though. It's how you got to think about the logic of the system of how to retrieve the data. It's syntactically, it's really simple. So let's go back to our MySQL or MariaDB. And one of the things we can do is show database. So databases. Look at that. We got some databases in there. All right, we got an information schema and a performance schema. And by default, we have a MySQL database. Now remember the terminology here. We have a database management system, DBMS. That is MySQL or Maria. But within that software, we have created 3 databases. All right, information schema, MySQL, and performance schema. The first and the last one are basically databases for the database. All right, these are databases that the database management system uses to be able to manage the system. All right, so what we might want to do, well, let's just look at, let's go to information schema. So let's say use information schema. This is the database for the database. All right. Database change. All right. Now we can go show tables. This will show me all the tables in the database. And there's a heck of a lot of them. All right. I can then switch to use the MySQL database. All right. Then we change the database, and I can do show tables here. And those are all the tables in the MySQL database. One of the things that we might want to do with this database is notice that we didn't have a password, right? So to update the password, here's how we would do it. You go update, and the user, update the user, and then set password, okay, equal to password is then equal I'm sorry, to hacker. Let's call it root. Let's go root. Not a safe password, but root. Let's put in where user is equal to root. And I got to end it with a semicolon. All right. So now it says one row was affected. Okay. That means now the next time we log in, let's try it. Let's go ahead and quit. All right. It tells me bye. Now let's try logging in again. All right. So go sudo mysql -u root -p, prompt me for the password. And it says ask me for a password. And remember earlier I just hit enter, no password. I'm gonna do that now. And it came in. It came in and let me in without a password. This is intriguing. It let me in without a password. This shouldn't be the case. And up to, unless that, I'm going to go ahead and quit again. And let's try logging in again, but this time let's try using the password. And it lets me do that as well using root. This seems odd that it's allowing me to come in with no password. Oh, well, I'm not sure what's going on here. Why it's doing that? It should not. It should require. It's letting me go in either way with a password and without a password. Okay, so what I did while we were off there for a second, I went ahead and did a select user to show me who the user is. And it comes back and tells me I'm root on localhost. All right, that's what I want to be. That's what it should be. Let's go ahead and quit. Let's try logging in again. All right, with no password. And I got to put the sudo in there. And no password. And then let's go select user. Close it with a semicolon. And still root on localhost. Seems a little strange. Let's try changing the password again. Password, and we'll make it into let's make it into OTW. And we're changing the password here. No database look. Oh, I'm not in database. Use MySQL. Database changed. Then let's go ahead and do updating the password. There we have. Okay. And then go select user. And I'm root on localhost as I should be. All right. So that's a quick and dirty lesson on MySQL. I've just showing you a few commands. And we're in a MySQL. Remember I told you we can do show tables, right? And let's do something. Let's do a quick a quick display of some some of the key. That's what we want to look at, which we really don't have a good, well, we can do this. We can go select, okay, all, okay, from users, this would be the user table, right? User, and you can see it's all binary, okay, for the most part. We got a bunch of all these are all the fields for the users, okay. And let's see if we can find our, here we are, localhost root, and there's our password right there. Let's try, let's go select all from, let's see, what do we have up here? Host. Should just be localhost, but let's check. Okay, it's an empty set, there's nothing there. Here's events. Let's see what we have there under events. And there's nothing in there either. We can go ahead and create database. We'll call this database Hackers Arise. You have an error in your syntax. Check the manual that corresponds to the Maria database. Okay. Create database Hackers Arise. Let's the problem is that dash in Hackers Arise. Let's try this. There we go. Got a new database. Now if we go show databases, got to spell it right. You can see our new database is right there, and then we can go ahead and go use database. Use Hackers Arise. Hackers Arise. And now we're in the Hackers Arise database. So simple, quick, dirty lesson in MySQL. This isn't a class in databases, although maybe we should add one. So we're going to move on to the next service, and that's going to be Postgres. But first, I have to go ahead and quit out of MySQL. All right, and we're going to look at the Postgres SQL. And the reason that we look at Postgres SQL is that it is the database that Metasploit, the world's most widely used exploitation framework, uses as its back end. If you don't have it, okay, on your system, all right, you can always go sudo apt install Postgres SQL, all right, or actually just Postgres is the way to use it. Let's just check to see if it's in there. Postgres. Postgres says unable to locate. No, it may not be in the Kali any longer, but it should be on our system. Let's try starting it. Let's go sudo system control. If you have Metasploit installed, you probably have Postgres installed. Postgres SQL. Let's go ahead and start Postgres SQL. All right, it started. Then let's go and check to see if it's up and running. Go AUX, no dash before it. AUX, and then pipe it to grep Postgres. Postgres is open source. Some people consider it to be a more sophisticated database for a number of reasons. For using in a enterprise environment, and that's why Metasploit and a number of other applications that need a more sophisticated database use Postgres. So we've got Postgres running. One of the things that if you're using the Metasploit database, one of the first, if you're using Metasploit and you want to use this database, you have to start Postgres first. All right. So we've started it right here, and then we can start the Metasploit, and Metasploit will automatically use this as a backend database. Let's go ahead and do that. This is the Metasploit framework if you haven't seen it before. It's developed by a firm called Rapid7 out of the Boston area, and it's basically a framework for penetration testing. There we are. It has all kinds of exploits, auxiliary modules, post-exploitation, payloads, encoders, maps, and evasion modules. But one of the things, if you're running it, one of the first things you want to do is to initialize the database. All right, so we can do MSF init. All right, MSFDB, MSFDB init. And this should initialize the database that then Metasploit can use it. Mine might be already be initialized, let's see, on this system. Run as root, yes. Sudo MSFDB init. You see it is, mine wasn't initialized. So we're going ahead and initializing the database. You can see it's creating a database, all right, called MSF, creating another one called MSF test, creating a configuration file, creating an initial schema, and now it's done. So now you're ready to use the Postgres database as the backend database on Metasploit. This means now that you can store your information from your scans and from your exploits into this database, and it speeds up the process of using it in a penetration test. All right, let's conclude then chapter 12. Let's move on to chapter 13. Let's begin chapter 13 now. Chapter 13 is titled Becoming Secure and Anonymous. As you know, almost everything we do on the internet is being tracked, okay, by Google, by Bing, by the National Security Agency, or whoever your national spy agency is. It's easy enough for them to track us because we leave behind a number of indications, including the cookies in our browser. So what we're going to do in this chapter is to look at ways that we can become anonymous on the web. Every time that you go to a website you leave behind your IP address. So the packet that gets to your website has the return IP address on it. Otherwise, it wouldn't be able to know where to come back to, right? So if you ever used Wireshark, and we can use Wireshark here, let's go ahead. First of all, I want to change my network settings, and let's put it out to NAT network, okay? And then let's go and get a DHCP assigned IP address, DH client, ETH0. So that'll give my ETH0 interface a IP address to be able to connect to the rest of the world. We'll go ping Google. Make sure we got, yep, there we go. And just to kind of show you what we're talking about here is that we can go and do a what's called a trace route, okay? A trace route. And traceroute will show us the path that our packets go to, say, google.com or any website. Okay, it shows you each one of the hops. All right, and it's hopping, 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 and then eventually we'll get to Google. Gone through 12 hops already. Still hopping. I wonder if my yeah, it's still hopping. This is unusual. It shouldn't have to hop that much. I'm gonna stop it. Let's go ahead and ping Google again. The fact that it's hopping that many times tells me it probably is lost. No, it's still, that's unusual. Let's try trace route to Hackers Arise. HackersArise.com. Notice it says 30 hops max. That's how many hops it'll make between each one of the routers, okay, over the internet to get to its destination. Up to 17. This is unusual. Usually you can get to almost any place in the world in about 15 hops. I'm not sure why we're getting this anomalous results right now. To further demonstrate, or to demonstrate, since that one really didn't, let's go ahead and open up Wireshark to show you what I'm talking about. Sudo Wireshark. Okay, so let's go ahead. This is Wireshark. If you haven't used it before, it allows you to watch the packets go across the wire. Let's go here. And let's go ahead and generate some traffic. Let's go to Hackers Arise. Here we are. You should begin. Oh, I think I might have. Let's go ahead and turn off the proxy. I got a proxy turned on here for web app hacking. Let's go here to network settings. No proxy. Say OK. All right. Now let's go ahead. You can start to see the packets go across here. It's going to Hackers Arise. And each one of these packets has a source IP address and a destination IP address. That means that any website that you go to is going to know exactly what IP address you're coming from, all right, and being able to trace you. That might be a problem if you want to remain anonymous. One of the ways that you can remain anonymous is to use a network called Tor. All right, let's go over here and let's go to the Tor network, TOR network. The Tor network, here we got some nice pictures, okay? The Tor network is a network that was designed for anonymity, all right? It's designed for anonymity. Let's open up some of these pictures here to kind of show you how Tor works, all right? So here's the Tor client. That would be me, all right? And I go to what's called an entry guard, and then another relay, and another relay, and then to my destination, all right? You can see that the green, all right, over here, is all encrypted. So nobody can see either the contents of what I'm sending, nor the IP address, because the IP address is also encrypted. This system was developed by the US Navy to allow them to be able to cruise the web anonymously, and it's now an open source project and still available. And it essentially gives you access to the dark web. All right, it can give you anonymity too. If you just want to go around the web and not have anybody know what you're doing, you can go ahead and use the Tor browser, or you can use it to get on the dark web. Let's go ahead and download the browser. Here's the Tor network, the Tor project right here. This is your access, if you want to the dark web and all the dark secrets that are there. And there's some dark secrets there. Let's go ahead and download the Tor browser. It's download for Linux. And we're going to open it up with the archive manager. Okay, it's downloading. A few more seconds to go. And it should open up the Tor browser. There's the archive manager. The archive manager should extract it. Remember earlier we were talking about compressing and archiving. Notice that this is a tar XZ, all right? And then we're going to go ahead and extract it. And where's our Tor browser at? Oh, let's go ahead and extract. Extraction complete. All right. Let's go see if it's going. Oh, here it is right here. It's already there. No, that's not it. Let's go up here and see if it put it into our. I don't see it. So let's go and open up and let's go and see, take a look in our Kali. Here's our Tor browser right there. All right, so let's go CD to Tor tab to autocomplete. All right, then do an ls-l and start Tor browser. Let's start Tor browser. Desktop. I wonder if it put a link on the desktop. Let's see if I see it here. Yeah, I don't see it. But let's just go ahead and there we go. There's our Tor browser. Okay, you ready for the dark web? All right. Click connect. Now, what this is going to do is that it's going to connect this browser to the Tor network. You're not going to be going through the normal routers on the internet. You're going to be going through Tor routers that are going to encrypt and anonymize your traffic. Sometimes it can be pretty slow, depending upon how close the Tor a Tor router is and what capacity that Tor router has. So let's connect to it. It's going to go ahead and start connecting to a Tor relay. Now, I'm not going to show you how to navigate the dark web. Okay, I will show you how to use the Tor browser to remain anonymous on the regular web. Right? You can still use Tor on the regular web. You can use it on the dark web too, but you're going to do your own exploration there because I don't want to be responsible for people getting themselves into trouble or causing trouble on the dark web. So you just have to do your own exploring there. Here's our Tor browser. All right. So now we can simply go something like, Hackers Arise. And when we go to Hackers Arise, and when we go to notice it's slow. Okay. There it is. So now I've gone to Hackers Arise, and the folks at Hackers Arise don't know who I am. All right. They can't trace my IP address. What they will get is an IP address from the last node that I went through, all right, getting there. So let's go back here. Let's look at some of those pictures. And let's go back to look at some of those pictures again on the Tor network to demonstrate what's happening. All right, so here's the Tor network. Here's a picture of the Tor network or a schematic. So I'm the client. I've gone into an entry guard and then to a relay and then to another relay. When my traffic appears at the destination, in this case Hackers Arise, it has the IP address of the exit relay. Doesn't have mine, okay? So all they know is that there's this exit relay here, this IP address, and this IP address might be a Tor router any place on the planet, all right? And it's not going to lead back to me. All right, so that's a quick and dirty lesson on the Tor network. You can use it to go anywhere on the web anonymously. All right, it's kind of an important thing to get to know and get familiar with. The next thing that I want to show you is what is called proxy chains. All right, let's go and open up a terminal here, and we're going to, let me close some of these things down. It's possible to use the regular routers on the internet and still anonymize your traffic. All right, so there's a thing called proxy chains built into Kali. Let's go back a level and let's go locate proxy chains. Yeah, you can see proxy chains. There's an application that allows you to use proxies around the world so you can hide your traffic. So let's go to use proxy chains. What we need to do is, first of all, to look at its configuration file, sudo mousepad proxy chains. That should be etc proxy chains.conf. Yep, type my password wrong. There we go. So to use proxy chains is pretty simple. All right, it looks like it's more difficult than it really is. Basically, this is the configuration file, and you simply need to set up this configuration file to tell it where you want to go, what proxies you want to use. All right. So let's look at each of the options. Here's proxy chains. These are all comments here, so there's nothing to do here. It's just telling you what it can do. The option below identifies how the proxy list is treated. Only one option should be committed at a time, otherwise the last appearing option will be accepted. So it's kind of important to know that all these options are going to go ahead and only the last option is the one that's going to use. So make sure you select the right one. You can see that strict chain is uncommented. Dynamic chain is commented out, so we're not using it. Each connection will be done via chained proxies. All proxies chained in the order as they appear in the list. At least one proxy must be online to play in the chain. Okay, that's a strict chain. I'm sorry, dynamic chain. Strict chain is each connection will be done via chained proxies. All proxies chained in the order as they appear in the list. All proxies must be online. So if one of them is down, then it's not going to work. That's important to know. Notice that the dynamic, each connection will be done via chained proxies. All proxies chained in order as they appear in the list. At least one has to be online. Then you have a random chain. Each connection will be done via random proxy from the list. This option is good to test your IDS. All right. Then you can determine the chain length. So let's go ahead and choose the random proxy. And let's go ahead and comment out. Remember that you can only choose one. Comment out. We'll do a random proxy. Each connection will be done via a random proxy. Okay. And then the chain length. How many links are there going to be in the chain? Okay. Let's take that out and let's make it say 3. And then we then go ahead and make a list of proxies. Here's some other timeout issues here. So it'll time out if it doesn't make a connection. Notice down here it says add proxy list here. All right, add proxy list here. So here's it showing us how to make a proxy list. We simply need to define the type of proxy, the IP address, and the port, and if there is a username and password. Now, the next step is to find some proxies. Let's go over here, and this is using the Tor. We don't have to use Tor. We can use just any browser. We can go ahead and say, okay, let's look for, say, free proxies. Free proxy list, high quality and fast. Perfect. Free and fast. What more could you ask for? Get your 10 free proxy lists right away. Each month you'll receive required bandwidth. No credit cards required. This one's going to require that we create an account. Let's go ahead and do that. There's a number of these online, by the way. It's not just this one. All right, so I'm going to go ahead, log into Proxy Control Panel. I got to create an account. All right. And as I'm creating this account, you'll notice that my email address is on Proton Mail, which is probably one of the safest emails to use. I'm going to take this off screen so you don't see my password. Let's see. You're not going to see it anyways. And we're going to create an account. And so we'll save it. It says stairs. This is a stairs. Looks like I got all the stairs. Let's see if I got them all. This CAPTCHA. All right. And so now that I'm inside, I can go ahead and claim my free proxies. Choose a country. Well, let's see. United States. Choose the countries for your proxies. Let's go and use all countries. And let's say we want to there's my account being open. Let's go HTTP. Okay. And we'll go without just use IP authentication. Oh, I'm gonna have to authenticate my account. Thank you for signing up. Confirm email now. Okay, I'm confirming. All right, let's go and refresh this. And here's my proxy list. All right, I can use these proxies to be able and put them on my list and then send my information, send my traffic through them. So here's one in Brazil. All right, let's go ahead and copy this one and the port. Let's go copy it. And then where's my, I'm trying to find my mouse pad. Oh, here it is. Okay, so I just need to go ahead and put these, all right, and the port. Let's see if I can clear up my screen a little bit. Got a lot of things running here. Let's close this. Wireshark. And let's go over here. And you see that I just put the one in for Brazil. It should be 8151. All right. Here it is. Tab 8151. Also note that I should have put in HTTP, the type HTTP tab. All right, so that sets up my first proxy. Put my next proxy in. All right, then I go back to my, and let's see, here's another one. That should be 8152. Let me fix that. 8152, not 51. It will fail otherwise. And the next one's going to be HTTP. And this one's going to be 4594. And it's going to be 8110. Tab 8110. Let's set up one more. We told the chain had 3, so let's make sure we get 3. And let's go back here. And this last one we're going to use in Germany. And it's going to be port 9183. Okay, so what this is going to do now is it's going to use these 3 proxies to send my traffic, okay, to any place that I go. And we've set it up for a random chain, so it's going to use any one of the 3, all right, to be able to go ahead and send traffic. It has to, in this case, the random. Each connect will done via random proxy from the list, all right, and we have a chain length of 3, so it's going to do 3 of them. We put in a chain length of say 2. Let's do that. Then it'll only use 2 of them. It'll randomly go through them. This way, each time you connect to that particular website, it's going to show a different IP address. Then all you need to do is save. All right. Also, I want to point out at the very bottom of proxy change, you can see the defaults are set to using Tor. All right, we don't want to use Tor. Let's go. We could use Tor, but let's take it out. Okay, and save it again. And now to use proxy chains, all we need to do, let's go ahead and close down our Firefox. All right, and let's open up a terminal, and we can go proxy chains, and then Mozilla or Firefox, and it will automatically begin using the proxy chains for our traffic in Mozilla. There we go. All right. Look, it's coming back and says, need more proxies, need more proxies. So we didn't put enough in. It's probably because some of them are failing. Okay. That's one of the things that you'll find is that many times the proxies, you have to test each one of them out and try them out. Oftentimes they're up for a while, then they fail, they're down. In some cases, they're taken down by law enforcement. So that's the way you do it. All right. And let's take a look at the responses that we're getting. All right, so here's one that's denied. It's denying all of them. Looks like each one of them being denied. Looks like they may be password protected. Here's our chain. It's starting at this IP address here. All right, it's trying to connect and it's denied. It looks like these must be passwords. All of them are being denied. All right, so this service that we were using, sometimes the quality of these things are different, but this might be a situation where you have to have a password. It looks like, let's go back and look at it. Let's go ahead and stop. Let's stop this proxy chains here. All right, try to do a Control C out of it. There we go. Okay, let's open up Mozilla. Let's just go Firefox. And this one's called WebShare.io. Let's go back there and take a look at it. We may have needed authentication, WebShare.io. All right, let's log in. 10 free proxies with 1 gig of data. Let's go to our proxy list. Here's our proxy list. These may be, I'm not sure, it says username and password, but they're all blank. Let's try Googling free proxies. There's a number of sites that offer free proxies. That one apparently is not working. Free proxy list to hide your IP address. This is the one I use in the book. All right, it's called Now they call it free proxy. Let's go ahead and go there. Looks like it's in the Czech Republic. All right, here's the free proxies. Okay, so you can go ahead and test some of these out, see which ones work best for you. And you can see they're rated by anonymity, high anonymity, transparent. That's not going to give you any anonymity if it's transparent, right? You want the ones with high anonymity. The other thing you have to ask yourself about these is why would somebody put up a free proxy? As I say in a number of places, including Hackers Arise, if a service is free, you, okay, are not the customer. You're the product. So you have to ask yourself, why are these people putting up free proxies? Why would they do that? I wonder why. There's a good question. All right. So before you start sending out traffic that you think is going to be anonymous, just think about why would they set up a free proxy for you. All right. Then let's move on to encrypted mail. My favorite encrypted mail, there's a number of them out there, but Proton Mail is my favorite. As you know, if you've tried to email me, I use a Proton Mail address. This is Proton Mail, based out of Switzerland. Everything is encrypted. Even the folks at Proton Mail can't see your email. It's used by a lot of people around the world. It's very, very difficult for anybody to get inside these mail servers, and if they do, then all they're going to see is a bunch of binary data. It's just not. If you're like, if somebody got a search warrant for Gmail, they would go into your Gmail account and read all your Gmail accounts, right? Or Hotmail or Outlook or what have you. Here, what happens is that your email gets encrypted in your browser and then gets decrypted at the other browser. So nobody in between can see your email. And that's why I use it. That's why a number of other people use it as well. Probably the best encrypted email. There's a number of others out there. You can also set it up to delete your email after some time period. So if you send an email to somebody and within 10 minutes it gets deleted. Okay, it's no longer there, whether they've read it or not. All right, so it's one way to secure your email so that nobody can get a handle on it. Okay, let's go ahead, and that's the completion of chapter 13. Let's go on to chapter 14, which is wireless networks. Okay, let's move on to chapter 14, wireless networks. All right, let's see. Let's go ahead and close down our browser here. All right, and we've got a terminal open here. Let's clear some real estate. One of the things that I'd like you to do before we get started on this section is to read the terminology on page 154 on wireless networks. You should know terms like AP, ESSID, BSSID, SSID. I'll throw some up on the screen for you. Let's talk about some of these. Okay, AP, access point. All right, ESSID. Now, you probably are familiar with SSID. That is the name on the AP. ESSID is the extended service head identifier. It's the same as the SSID, but it applies to all of the SSIDs within, say, an organization. You need to know a BSSID, and that's the MAC address. Let's see, we need to know channels. Okay. There's multiple channels, and there's 1 through 14, actually, 1 through 14 in wireless networks. In the US, we only use 1 through 11. Modes. In wireless, there's multiple modes. There is monitor mode, okay, which we'll be using. There's managed mode. And what's the other one? Master mode. Okay. Your wireless adapter is in managed mode by default. Monitor mode is when we're going ahead and picking up all of the packets on the network, so like a sniffer would, like Wireshark, other tools. And frequency. On wireless networks, they're either 2.4 gigahertz or 5 gigahertz or both. Most of the modern wireless networks now are running on both. Okay, so let's move on. Talk about wireless networks. If you're using VirtualBox, like I'm doing here, one of the first things you need to do is to connect your wireless adapter. All right. So you may very well be running off a laptop that has a wireless adapter in it. But when you're in VirtualBox, it takes that wireless adapter and converts it for the purposes of your virtual machine into a wired adapter. All right. So if I go ahead right now and go ifconfig, for instance, sudo ifconfig, and I'm running off a wireless. All right. Well, you can see that right here I have ETH0. That's actually my wireless adapter that's connected to my physical machine. It comes in to my virtual machine like looks like a wired adapter, right? So to do wireless in a virtual machine, you need to have an external, preferably USB. That's what I have here, wireless adapter. It's an external wireless adapter. This one's actually an Alpha card, the ones that I generally recommend. They're good, they're inexpensive, they work well for hacking. If you're wondering, well, why can't I simply use the wireless adapter on my virtual machine? Well, it's not going to work for hacking anyways, right? You need to have a special wireless adapter, and I talk a little bit about that on Hackers Arise. You need to have a wireless adapter that can inject packets. Most of them cannot. The ones on your laptop probably can't. I can tell you with 95% certainty that your wireless adapter on your laptop cannot be used for hacking. So you might want to go ahead and buy one of these inexpensive alphas, and there's others that'll work as well. Not just the alpha. The alphas, you can pick them up new on Amazon for about $30. You can buy them used for $10, $15 on eBay and other places. All right, so the first thing we need to do is to do an ifconfig. Well, even actually, the first thing we need to do is go devices and go USB and make sure that is connected to your virtual machine. Here it is. If it's not, you got to click on it and connect it. Take it from your physical machine and move it into your virtual machine. All right. So the first thing you can see is we got the WLAN 0. That's wireless LAN 0. All right. Another command that we want to be familiar with is sudo iwconfig. It's a wireless config. All right. And it seems to be hanging here. There we go. All right. So it comes back and just shows us the adapters. It tells us which adapters have wireless extensions. And you can see the only one that does is WLAN 0, which you would expect, right? It tells us is IEEE 802.11. That's what wireless is called technically, okay, by the IEEE is 802.11. Tells me the ESSID is off. It's in managed mode. That's typical. That's the way it's set up by default. That means that it only can see packets that are intended, that are going between it and the AP. All right, similar to a wire and a switch in a switch network. It shows me it's not associated with any access point, the power, all right, and a few other things. Now, one of the things that we can also use on the wireless adapter, is to see what APs are within range. And that's using the IW list. Let's go ahead and we'll try to detect all those APs that are nearby and list them out with their key specifications. So it's be sudo IW list scan and let it go out and scan. It's telling me my resources interface doesn't support scanning. And the light went off. Let's go see if, let's try sudo IW config again. Yeah, still there. Let's try running that command again. Scan. And it's trying now to scan. There we go. Let's see if it'll scan. It's trying. There we go. So notice that it's gone ahead and picked up a number of APs and given us key information about each one of them. So everything that's within range. And I have an antenna, a high gain antenna, so we got several from outside the area. We can see that this one here is using channel 1, the encryption key's on, the ESSID. It's in master mode, okay? Master mode is what you would expect, right? Because it's the master. Its APs are in master mode. Here's another one over here. It's on channel 1 as well. Notice it's at 2.4 gigahertz. Let's see if this one appears at. This one is at 2.4 gigahertz as well. And ESSID is very similar. It's in master mode. Here's one called Mandela in master mode, 2.4 gigahertz. On channel 6, this one is. Notice here it says the address. That's the MAC address, okay? The globally unique MAC address. When we look further at wireless networks, this is often referred to as the BSSID. Tells us here the encryption is WPA2 version 1. This is a lot of information here. Here's another one on channel 9. This one's called Mandela 2. It's WPA version 1 as well. There's another one over here. This one doesn't have a name. Interesting. There's no names on channel 1, 2.4 gigahertz as well. WPA is the encryption, version 1. We can go through each of them. Another one with no name. Here's another one called Magic Cabin 2G extended. So shows me all of them that it can reach, okay, in the immediate vicinity, depending upon the antenna you have and the strength of those signals. Now, the key piece of software that we need doing wireless work is called AirCrack. AirCrack is a suite of tools. All right, it's a suite of tools, and it does a number of different things. Ultimately, it can help us crack the Wi-Fi password. And if you want to learn more about that, I have a class on Wi-Fi cracking. You might want to go ahead and attend or purchase that video. But it has a number of different tools in it. And the first thing we need to do is to put our wireless adapter into what's called monitor mode. This is like promiscuous mode in a wired environment, so it can see all the packets going past me. All right. So to do that, we're going to go sudo airmon ng start. Okay, and then the adapter name, whatever your adapter name happens to be. Yours may be WLAN02, like mine. It may be WLAN1, WLAN2, WLAN3. Okay, and it may have another name The key is that you get that name and use it here. So let's go ahead. This is putting the adapter into monitor mode. That's the first step. Okay, it did it. Came back with a couple of bit of information for us. It says, I found 3 processes that could cause trouble. Use AirMon check kill before putting the card in monitor mode. They will interfere with changing signals. So let's go ahead and do that. It tells us that. So let's go and do sudo. I found generally that I don't get problems, but let's follow their directions. Check kill. So that if we do have problems, we know at least that that's not the source of the problem. And it's killing the problematic, yeah, there it is. It kills the problematic processes. Now, notice also that it went ahead and it changed the name of our adapter to now WLAN0Mon. Okay, so that's one of the processes it does. Let's go and do sudo ifconfig. And you can see that our adapter now has a new name. And we have to use that name from now on. It has literally changed its name. And so if you're doing any work with that adapter, you have to use that name. So let's go ahead next and use the airodump command. Airodump basically is a command that allows us to see all the key information for hacking of all the APs nearby. So we just go sudo airdump ng and then the name of the adapter. In my case is WLAN 0, not O, but 0 mon, and run it. And soon, hopefully soon, we begin to see information. Nothing's coming up. This tells me that the adapter may have been dropped. Okay, it happens sometimes. Let's go ahead and stop it. Let's try sudo ifconfig and see if it's still connected to my virtual machine. It is. All right, that's good. Let's try running airmon again. Or airdump, I'm sorry. Not picking up any traffic. No light is flashing on it. That's the key. Not getting anything. I'm going to go ahead and disconnect and connect it again. Let's go do this. Devices, network adapters. No, that's not what I want. I want devices, USB. There it is right there. Okay, it dropped it. Now let's go reconnect it. I won't attach it. Doesn't want to fail to attach it. Let's try again. Oh, there it is right there. Let's go. And it looks like my keyboard just failed. Let's go ahead and stop it. Let's try opening up another terminal. And fail to attach a USB to unknown device to the virtual machine. I think I have an additional problem in that I think I lost my keyboard. Let's try again. Let's open it up and go if. Oh, there we go. We got it back. Okay, sudo ifconfig. Okay, see, I lost my adapter. Let's see if I can get it attached again. Let's give it a shot. It shows it being attached. All right, let's detach it. Let's go ahead and attach it again. And it looks like it might have gotten attached. Let's try it. Let's do this ifconfig. Yeah, no, it didn't. Still didn't get attached. Let's look at here. Shows me that it's attached. All right, what I'm going to do here is I'm going to go ahead and reboot my Kali. All right. Sometimes this happens, especially when you talk about networks. And let's go ahead and restart it again. It's one of the drawbacks of using a virtual machine. Sometimes the networking doesn't always work flawlessly. Let's give it a minute to reboot. We'll try again with our wireless network. All right, let's log in. And let's check devices, USB, and there it looks like it's attached. Okay, it says it's attached. Let's go ahead and the light, I can tell you the light's not flashing on it, so that's not a good sign. And let's do a sudo ifconfig. No, it's not attached. Let me physically try to attach and reattach it. Okay, try again. USB shows it right there. Let's go ahead and detach it and attach it. Essentially, we're mounting it is what we're doing. And let's do sudo ifconfig. Still no attachment. Light is on. That's a good sign. Light's on. And let's go. It's showing us that it's on. Let's do sudo iwconfig. All right. Hang on a second. I'm going to change adapters.